Pódcast LaSalleOrg.
Good day and welcome to LaSalle Global's podcast. This is the first episode in a series where we'll discuss the LaSalle Pastoral Letter. And today we're joined by no less than Superior General Brother Armin Luistro, who is the first Filipino and the first Asian to be Superior General of the LaSalle community. I'm here in Manila, Philippines, while Brother Armin is streaming live from Rome, Italy. Brother Armin, how have you been?
Well, when people ask me, how are you? Actually, my real answer always is, I've been blessed with a very good team. I actually call them the squadra. It's the team, the Concilio Generales. And then I say, if not for the squadra, I would not be thriving at this stage. I've always been blessed, Meryl. In all of my major assignments at De La Salle University, when I first assumed the presidency, I was also a newbie. I was mostly information work. I was a classroom teacher, but I was not really an administrator in the school. So coming to the university at a relatively young age compared to Brother Andrew, I was kind of not too comfortable with that. But I had a good team. And the team really helped me manage things a little better. So much better than if it were just me. The same is true when I went to De La Salle, Philippines. We were just establishing this network of Philippine schools, and we really didn't know where it should go and how, what form and shape it should have. But we assembled an excellent team. And that was exactly what I also felt when I went to DepEd. Another big life changer for me. I always say the best 6 years of my life as a brother, but never again. But my salvation, Meryl, at that time was really the excellent team that I brought with me into the department. And that's pretty much what I'm experiencing now. The squadra representing the 5 regions, but also joined in by others from we have someone from the financial stewardship group. We have somebody who's doing all the secretarial work, etc. But we really work as a team. While we have specific assignments, I could tap on just anyone, and if there's anybody who needed to be substituted because of health reasons, any one of us can just come in, and it's always a great. I would always say when people ask me about leadership qualities, I would always say, you need to assemble a good team who will work with you. And I think that's really the mark of a good leader.
I have to touch on the pastoral letter now, which is the whole meat of this series. And I guess for the people who are not so aware, maybe we can introduce to them what the pastoral letter is and what it means to the Lasallian community and why you release it annually.
It's the way where the leadership of the institute is able to communicate with the membership. Traditionally, it's a pastoral letter to all the brothers, and it has taken on a kind of theological, a deep reflection on what we should be responding to, bringing into the concept many things that maybe is not necessarily communicated on a regular basis to the rest of the institute. So, it was one of the major tasks for the Superior General. So, to be honest, when I was doing the first pastoral letter, I was kind of halfway through my kind of outline. And then I just had this writer's block. I was reading through what I had written, maybe 8-10 pages, and I told myself, who will be reading this? Who will be reading this kind of theologically sounding lofty kind of pastoral letter. I'm familiar with what young people are used to: short quips, little messages here and there, the attention span of people. But in my mind, I was also saying, should I be writing only to the brothers at the time when we are so aware that the Institute has recognized that the life of the Institute is not just the brothers. We have 100,000 Lasallian partners, women, men, single, married. We have 1 million students. We have alumni. And I thought, is it time that I also try to reach out to them? So it was that context that I started saying, well, what would be the best way of communicating to them? And that's why my first year was a kind of a travelogue. It was like, this is what I did the past 4 or 5 months. So it's nice now with an iPhone, you could take pictures and you could remember the dates and the places that you visited. So in my first year, I figured, instead of a long pastoral letter with different chapters, why don't I write 16 vignettes? My own short reflections with a little picture here and there. I told myself, if they don't even have time to read the whole pastoral letter, at least read one. And if they don't even have time to read, maybe they can just focus on the picture that reminds me. It's really a pastoral letter for me in the first place. It reminded me of my travels and my little reflections on each one of them. What stirred the heart, no? And that kind of evolved. No? So in the second pastoral letter, I was reflecting and I told myself, I want to do the same. Keep the format of the 16 vignettes, little stories. I tried to actually invite a group of ghost writers who would help me also deepen their own reflection. So I was trying to bring in not just my thoughts, not just my experiences, recognizing that the Lasallian family is so varied, so diverse, and that's the richness that we have. No? So 16, take your pick. There's a long kind of introductory overview, and there's kind of a summary that brings everything together. And I entitled that second one, Finite, Fragile, Free. And it just captures, I thought, what I deeply felt is the treasure of the Institute. That we are so finite, things are not forever. We will always be dealing with our humanity, our mortality. We are very fragile, and yet we are free. We are free to embrace the world. We are free to embrace all the others who are as wounded as we are. And that's exactly how educators, how parents, how mentors may wish to approach the world today. Recognizing my own limitations, but at the same time, recognizing that within those limitations, I have the power to embrace the world.
Thank you for listening. Every week we will have a new episode of Limited, Fragile, Free. Follow us and share LaSalleOrg podcast. Your podcast, our podcast. See you soon. LaSalleOrg is a podcast produced by the Office of Information and Communication of the Institute of the Brothers of the Christian Schools.